The people were the ones that organized and pushed the governments to do what they should do. Governments will not do the right thing unless they're pushed by the people. And that's what BDS is about.
Before I bring Norman back in.
There's a slight problem in the paperwork for the Saudi arms deal. Maybe the government could help us figure it out, because you see, for months they've been telling us that it was a done deal under the Conservatives. Now it turns out that what to the untrained eye looks like the signature of the Minister of Global Affairs approved it actually on April 8th, just a few days ago. Maybe they could explain that one to Canadians. Why have they misled Canadians about the Saudi arm deal?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will say today what I have been saying every time anyone asks me about this, including during the election campaign. We will honour the contracts signed by Canada in February of 2014. The fact is, there are jobs in London relying on this.
Notorious for their beheadings, persecution of Christians and other religious minorities, a real rape culture towards women.
نسيت سرقت ده سنجار؟
ايه.
بقى حتى البنات من هناك؟
والله الشيوخ هم احنا عناصر، والشيوخ هم ياخذوا البنات يعني سبايا يعني، واحنا عناصر عند الشيوخ.
وين البنات الكيف؟
ناس اللي هو بالشدادي وناس بالموصل كانوا ممكن هني كانوا بالموصل وخذوا الناس على الشدادي وعلى الرقة.
كم بنات؟
والله يعني ما يعني نعدوا كثار.
ولهذا إذا كان في واحد يجحد أمك ويجحد أختك ويعمل الهاجة أنت عملت اليزيدية، شو تتفكر؟ بدك هذا بالسوى معه؟
قالوا هذول كفرة مو إسلام يعني، هي كانت دون نظر الشيوخ عنهم السعوديين والتونسيين.
هذا كله من جانب السعوديين، وعندك ما عندك موح؟
كانوا يعني يحكوا معك انت مخ يعني هيك يقعدوا معك ساعه ساعتين لا ويقنعوك يقول لك امشي على المعركه.
A nearby area was cleared out of ISIS terrorists. It was then that the evidence was found. Next to well-fortified positions lay the bodies of 3 terrorists. Their pockets contained documents that identified them as foreign citizens from Saudi Arabia and Tunisia. Another NATO country, Turkey, also seems to be providing aid. Shamelessly written on this bag are the words, "From the people of Turkey to the people of Syria." Rather, it should say, "From the government of Turkey to ISIS." The base was also used to manufacture explosives. The components used came from Saudi Arabia. The Saudi coat of arms is stamped on bags that contain large quantities of TNT. The explosives made here range from landmines to deadly car bombs.
Let's be very clear. ISIS is not just a terrorist organization. It is a Sunni terrorist organization. That means it blocks and targets Shia. And that means it's serving the interests of Turkey and Saudi Arabia.
Yes, well, I hope actually that it's even more of a wake-up call for us to realize that we are ISIS, that the Western governments that are in bed with Saudi Arabia, who is the primary funder of ISIS, along with Qatar and other Gulf states, we not only provide the political cover and military assistance to Saudi Arabia while it slaughters innocent people in Yemen, but we also provide the cover for them to go ahead and do their dirty dealing with these psychopaths who are running around Syria and other parts of the world as well, Iraq.
The Canadian media didn't report it, but the Australian media did, because our media is Zio-Marxist controlled.
And that's time. Bill, I'm going to open up the floor now.
I agree with the Marxist guy and the Green guy. We should stop murdering people in foreign countries. We're creating the refugees, and we're doing it to help Israel expand, and it's wrong. It's immoral. It's like I don't know what's happened to Canada. Like Canada used to be the peacemaker, right? And I think the Green and the Marxist guy will agree with me. We were the peacemaker at one time. The days of Lester Pearson was a liberal. I mean, I'm cool with that. But Nathan, I'm cool with that. But we were the peacemaker. Now we're just Israel and the United States. I don't know. Can I say bitch on TV? I don't know. But that's what we are. We do whatever they tell us, and we're murdering these people. And then we're told to bring them over here. It's wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Is ISIS good for the Jews? Let's see. For now, they're using them to break the arc of resistance against Zionism, running from Iran to Iraq, to Damascus, to Beirut. Israel's former ambassador to the U.S. admitted last year that Israel prefers al-Qaeda to lawful rule.
The Israeli ambassador to the US says Tel Aviv prefers al-Qaeda-affiliated guys to groups backed by Iran. Israel's initial message was that it had always wanted Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to go, even though the bad guys had linked to al-Qaeda.
The Jerusalem Post just chimed in that ISIS poses no threat to Israel. But Assad, who maintains stability in the region, he's the threat.
And quite frankly, if we're to look at ISIS, ISIS stands for Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. They never attack Israel, and that in itself also tells you a lot about who these individuals are.
The war in Syria is a war to expand Israel. ISIS stands for Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. You can Google it. There's a video from years ago where a reporter actually brought this up.
You tell the story about how you tried to find out what they call the Mossad when they deal with publicly?
I thought it was a reasonable question, but the trouble is you can't pick up the phone book. There's no Langley in Israel that you can look up, CIA, or in our case, the Mossad. We thought we should ask, what shall we call it in English? You can translate the Hebrew words, as I said, Mossad is institute, but when they write a letter to their friends in the CIA or the British intelligence, what do they call themselves? It took a while. It was a matter of asking the Prime Minister's spokesman. The best you could do, because officially the Mossad is under the Prime Minister's office. And I think he sort of wondered why you want to know and all that, so we explained. And he came up with the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service. I mean, if it were to have initials, it would be ISIS.
Yes. He is Jewish, and his name is Simon Elliott. Edward Snowden has already released documents proving that, and a French newspaper has already reported on this. But your Jewish masters in the US, especially your terrorist senator, John McCain, will not allow it to be publicized. And here is the same Jewish terrorist, Simon Elliott, masquerading as a leader of the Islamic Caliphate. And here he is hanging out with your Senator, John McCain, orchestrating and funding the new terrorist group. This is all nothing but a charade. And do not think for a minute this is just an isolated incident. They have been doing this for a long, long time. It is time to round up and arrest the majority of U.S. congressmen, senators, politicians, bankers, Wall Street executives, and corporate leaders, because they are all guilty of treason.
اليوم تشهد الموصل تفجير يعني مراقد الأنبياء وقبورهم ومساجدهم. هل هذا من الإسلام بشيء؟
يا ابني قلت لك والله يهودي. خلي اسمعني هالكلب ابن الكلب. والله العظيم عميل يهودي. هو نفسه يقول له علي شو اسمه هذا الكلب اسمه؟ أبو بكر بغدادي؟ هو هذا أبو بكر هذا شو اسمه هذا القتل سيدنا الحسين شو اسمه؟ ها؟ شمر هذا الشمر وحتى الشمر أشرف منه بعد. هذا شنو؟ هذا بعد عميل يهودي لا أكثر ولا أقل. والله داعش وماعش والنصرة وحتى محمد عبد الوهاب أبو الوهابية كلهم صناعة يهودية بالمية وخلي يقتلوني إذا شوف. وأنا مسؤول عن هذا الكلام أمام رب العالمين. إذا كان مو صحيح الله يحطه بجهنم لأنه يكون على علماء وأصحاب دين. والله حركة يهودية يعني مرتبة ترتيبا لتمزيق الأمة وقد مزقته. هذا التمزيق الأولي بعد تمزيق أكثر.
These militant Islamist groups or regimes, whether Iran or ISIL or Hamas, they all have a fanatic ideology. They want to have their domains expanded, and ultimately they want to change history. They want to bring us back to an early medieval period where women are chattel and minorities are subjugated, and everyone they consider an infidel is given the choice, convert or die. I mean, that's insane. But this insanity, coupled with the weapons of mass destruction, could lead to catastrophe. And that's happened before in the previous century with another mad ideology that sought to conquer the world. And when they thought they had enough power, the Nazis wrought horrible devastation and 60 million people died.
It was an arrival fit for a former prime minister. Even the press were on hand. But the venue was Masayahu prison in central Israel, where Ehud Olmert has just begun 19 months behind bars for corruption, making him the country's first ex-head of government to go to jail.
We need to start talking about how Hamas was even born. In the late
1980s, during the first Intifada, Israel was very afraid of the PLO. So to stop the PLO, what we did was help to create a new group of resistance that divide the West Bank into two. And the name was Hamas. We gave them weapons, Israel trained some of their people, and we gave them money to work.
What evidence do you have of that?
Well, today we know that from the Israeli intelligence. Today we know Israel intelligence, Israel officers that saying we were mistaken, helping Hamas rise against the PLO. Our fear was PLO, exactly like your fear was Bin Laden.
You know, Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and it served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first indirectly and directly through Israel help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. You know, it just doesn't make sense. During the 80s, you know, we were allied with Osama bin Laden. And we were contending with the Soviets. It was at that time our CIA thought it was good if we radicalized the Muslim world. So we financed the madrasa schools to radicalize the Muslims in order to compete with the Soviets.
But Hamas is the same as ISIS?
Hamas and ISIS, they're not twins, but they're brothers. I call them branches of the same poison tree. These are radical Islamic movements, and they use some of the same methods. Look at this. I brought this picture. And when your viewers look at this, they might think this is ISIS.
An al-Qaeda affiliate known as Jabhat al-Nusra has seized a swathe of land, and Syria's army is trying to take it back. It's easy to hear and see the not-too-distant sound of shelling. On this day, al-Nusra forces are fighting the Syrian army for control of the main road to Damascus. For now, they've largely left Israel alone. And Israel has tried on the surface to appear neutral. But there are new signs that Israel is siding with the rebels. United Nations observers recently reported witnessing IDF soldiers allowing what appeared to be two unwounded rebel fighters into Israeli territory. Still, the IDF maintains that its only interaction with rebels is in humanitarian missions like this. What we're seeing here is really quite astounding. A group of Israeli soldiers treating fighters from Syria. You couldn't have imagined it happening 2 years ago, but it just goes to show how unpredictable the Middle East has become and how much this region is changing. What we're seeing is a high level of coordination from the Israeli military directed towards helping these fighters from inside Syria. The question I'm asking myself is, do they have a deal with one particular faction fighting on the other side of the border? And if they do, what is Israel getting in exchange? So far we've seen, according to Israel's own statistics, that 90% of the people that they're treating have been men. So I'm going to leap to the conclusion that most of them have been fighters. I think Israel sees this as being in its overall interests, but I want to know more specifics. I noticed in your statistics that 90% of the people you treat here are men. Are you sure none of them are fighters?
I don't know.
This question clearly made the doctor uncomfortable, maybe justifiably so. the Israeli public might not be too keen on the fact that Israeli doctors are helping fighters who hate Israel only a bit less than they hate the Syrian regime.
يعني صار في جرحى تفوت على إسرائيل يعني من العام الماضي يعني توقعت إنه ممكن بأي لحظة واحد يتعرض لإصابة ممكن إنه يدخل على إسرائيل.